think marijuana should be legalized?
I think that marijuana is a drug that could potentially be beneficial for a lot of people.
Recreational use, though?
Recreational use, maybe not so much. I think thinking about Colorado and their laws and how it's been, um, I haven't heard of too many incidents of people doing anything tremendously bad or um, I mean, it's not a drug, I think, that you take and then go out and kill somebody or do something really outrageous, but I think that it definitely can be abused. So for recreational use, I would say I'm on the fence about it.
Has anyone in your life that you know experienced a negative outcome from doing weed or smoking it or having any consumption to it?
Um, no, actually, I have to say no. I mean, there are, I will say that I have a lot of people in my life who do use it in a recreational way, but there's never been anything bad that's happened as a result of it.
Do you agree it's worth sending people who have possession of marijuana to prison or jail?
No, I don't agree with that. I think that there are much kind of bigger fish to fry, and that there are a lot of I mean, we hear about the like shootings and mass murders and things like that going on, and I think these are the people who really, not only need help, like mental health help, but also are the people who need to be more secured and behind bars. I think that it's kind of a waste for people who are simply have possession of marijuana or have used it to go behind bars. I don't say that there shouldn't be necessarily a fine or some sort of consequence, but going to prison or jail, no, I think that's um, a little bit over the top for marijuana use.
Do you think kids should consider the long-term effects of doing recreational marijuana?
Sure, absolutely. I think that anyone, kids and adults, before they make the choice to use it, I think that they really need to know the consequences of it and what can happen and what happens in your body and just the makeup of your brain. And I think it goes along with not only like knowing what the drug does to your body, but also and how it reacts in your body and makes you feel, but also understanding development and just where kids are in their development. And how that will affect it, because it will affect kids differently than it will adults. And so I think that plays a big part in it.
And do you think it's worth being charged for a B felony or C demeanor just for being in the same car as someone who possesses marijuana without you knowing?
No, I don't agree with that either. I mean, ultimately, I look at marijuana as like it's a natural herb. It is a drug. It's considered a drug because of the um, the way that our government has classified it. But I don't agree with it. And being in that classification, I think that it can be abused absolutely, and there can be long term effects of it. But ultimately, I don't think that it should be even in the same category as more like harder drugs um, that can have a much more um, adverse effect or long term impact on your life.
Do you have anything to say to kids who are thinking about using marijuana in a recreational way?
I would say just educate yourself. I think that kids who are like, hey, I want to smoke some pot, or think, my friends are doing it, maybe I should try it, or something like that. I think there's a lot of other factors that go into it, into being addicted or into using it in a more negative way. I think kids can use it to cope with a lot of different things, especially depression, and a lot of times depression is not um, it's not a good thing to medicate with marijuana. It just kind of makes you go farther south, I think. as far as your symptoms. But I would just say educate yourself, learn about it, understand what it does to your body, what it does to your brain, how it alters how you feel, and yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Struggling with marijuana abuse.
I think the advice that I would give is ultimately what I've seen and what I mean, I'm a therapist, and so I work with middle schoolers. And so what I see when kids are using or abusing marijuana is that there's an underlying thing going on, and I would say to really address that and make sure that you're addressing that underlying issue, um, because if you're trying to just treat it or kind of cope with it or deal with it, whatever it may be, whether it's depression, anxiety, um, I mean ADHD, anything, I think that you need to address that instead of just trying to kind of cover it up with using marijuana.
Should be legalized for recreational use, not for medical use.
No, not really. I just think people might go overboard. You know, you get stuck on a habit and then it gets stronger and stronger.
Has anyone in your life that you know experienced a negative outcome from using it?
Not yet. I know my Andrew smokes it occasionally. My older son did also, but I think he's quit because he has a job, an important job where he has to be clean and cut.
Do you agree it's worth sending people who have possession of marijuana to prison or jail?
No, I think there's worse crimes.
Do you think that kids, mostly teenagers, should consider the long-term effects of medical or recreational marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, like cigarettes, things like that, it can get habit forming because I smoke and it's a real bad habit which I can't break. So yes, I think it's tough.
Do you have any advice to kids who are struggling with the use of marijuana?
Well, to look ahead in their life because maybe it makes them feel good and relaxed, but maybe it makes them lazy and maybe it gives them that feeling of not caring. I mean, I've been told that it makes you not care. And, you know, when you're young, you got to care about your future. So I think that, I don't know where I'm trying to go other than to say, you know, if somebody can do something minimum, you know, in small amounts, but things always lead to more and more, so.
Recreational marijuana should be legalized in Oregon.
No.
And why?
Well, I've seen the effects. I've been actually personally involved with people in my family, I guess, that have been under the substance of marijuana. I believe it's not a horrible drug, but I do believe that for some people that are of age that maybe don't understand what it can do to them, it's too easily available. I guess it's always going to be available, but to have it legal, I guess would make it even easier for people to get a hold of. And I think they should be educated first.
And you said that some people in your family have dealt with it. Have they experienced any negative outcomes from it?
Yes, definitely. I could say probably I know 3 people that were very close to me. I think what it does for you is it just takes you out of your, that's why people do it, to take them away from their reality. So it makes them feel good because they don't have to deal with their current situations, and so it gets people like an excuse not to have to do it. If there's something going on that's negative in their life, then they tend to do drugs, no matter what drug it is, but in this case it was marijuana. And so it just makes them not reliable and maybe won't, try to make a solution for their problem. So my experience was that it was an easy excuse, and then they just continue like that for, probably till now, still now, doing that, not taking responsibility for the challenges.
Do you think it's, do you agree with the fact that it's worth sending people who have possession of marijuana to prison or jail?
That's pretty hard. I can't imagine anybody going to prison or jail.
They find some people if they have usually over an ounce, they're usually sent to jail or prison or 5-year probation at least.
Yeah, that's kind of hard, I think, for something like that. I think there's worse criminals that don't get less. So maybe just nice to have a place for them to have to go to really understand maybe the consequences, and maybe it's they have to go through a rehab just like the person that's actually taking it, because it's an addiction to actually sell it, because you make money off of it, and that's an addiction as well.
I think people, especially kids, should consider the long-term effects of using recreational marijuana.
Yes, of course. I think there should be more education around that in the schools, and of course parents as well. More resources where people can easily get them, and maybe even more resources in high schools and even maybe in middle school where kids start. But there definitely should be more education about it. It is a drug, so it's really hard to stop, just like smoking or drinking, so it's an addiction. So I don't think we educate our kids enough to know that once they get started, it's really hard to come off of that. So I think there's need to be more education.
Do you think that hanging out with people who do recreational marijuana for fun, do you think it's worth hanging out with them and getting punished? I mean, there are people that are in a car with someone and that person happens to have marijuana and they get caught. Do you think it's worth it?
No, I've experienced that too. If I've been somewhere, a festivity or something, and it comes out and people are doing it, that people can do whatever they want with their lives. But yeah, I would be very cautious of hanging out with people. I know that you can get caught and get into trouble, and I guess it always goes onto your record, right? So definitely have to be careful who you hang out to, and peer pressure is a big thing as well. So if you feel like you don't want to deal with the peer pressure, then probably just don't hang around it.
And do you have any advice to kids who are struggling with the use of marijuana?
Well, for me, from my experience, and because I have worked in the industry of wellness for a long time, and I've experienced personally what marijuana does, I would encourage kids to really learn to love themselves and to love life and to try to live with passion and do something they really love. Because when your life goes well and you don't have the stress or getting rid of stuff that you don't like or the stressors, then you don't tend to need it. So I guess the advice would be to just realize that we're all here for a purpose, and that each youth, each child is divine and is amazing and a miracle in itself, and that we can all really do whatever we want to do. But I think that knowing that can stop you, like drugs, I guess, would kind of takes that away from you. It's